So, almost a decade ago, Satoshi Nakamoto, he created the Bitcoin and silently disrupted trust providing organizations like banks with an 8-page long research paper describing how money can be decentralized through Bitcoin. At the time, not many people understood the potential that those 8 pages concealed within them. Okay? But now today we're almost staring at almost $1 trillion in market cap. It's about $500 billion in market cap. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. So now, not talking about decentralized money here. I'm referring to decentralization itself. Now, scroll on down a little bit for him, Alan. In these 8 pages, Nakamoto, he didn't just explain how we could regain control of our money, but he offered a new way that strangers would be able to interact and deal with each other, right? Scroll on up. You went too far up. Okay. Yeah. So how strangers will be able to interact with each other and have instant trust. Okay. So you might have come across people who deny the potential for blockchain and they tell you not to buy into the hype. But, I would say for me, my best advice is ignore them. Okay. I wouldn't pay them too much attention because businesses that don't adopt the decentralized world of the future will soon become businesses of the past. Now, in this article, we're going to discuss different ways that blockchain can fit into your company within the next 10 years. So I'll say it again, not only in the article, but in the webinar, you're going to learn how blockchain will fit into your company within the next 10 years. So let's start with just basics on exactly what blockchain is. Now, put simply, it's a database, public ledger that's open source and it's ever growing, meaning it's in beta. All right, so it's ever growing database that different kinds of data can be stored on. And it has quite remarkable properties. Okay. I think you went up a little bit too far. Oh, no, you didn't. I'm tripping. Never mind. You're good. So once the data is stored on the database, it can never be modified or deleted. Every record on the blockchain is permanent for an eternity. No single individual organization maintains a database, and several thousands of individuals do. So instead of one person, several thousands of individuals, and everyone has a copy of the database themselves. We wouldn't be asking Hillary to give us access to her emails. It would just be there and you'd be able to take a peek at it any time and you couldn't change anything there. So to understand it, right? Imagine how several people are able to keep their copies of the database in sync with everyone else's. Imagine this. It can be a challenge, but here's how it works. So let's say, scroll down. Let's say that there's 10 individuals in a network and everyone's sitting at a table or sitting at their respective places, not at a table, let's say anywhere in the world. They could be anywhere in the world. Now, each of these people have an empty folder and a blank page in front of them. Whenever anyone does something important in the network, like transferring money, they announce it to everyone in the network. So let's say that person 2 sends $10 to person 9. Scroll on down. Everyone makes a note of each announcement on their page until their pages are full. When they're full, everyone has to seal the contents on their page by solving a mathematical puzzle. Solving a mathematical puzzle verifies that everyone's page has the same contents and ensures they can never be modified. Whoever seals their page first gets rewarded with some amount of cryptocurrency. Once the page is sealed, it is added to the folder. A new page is brought out and the process continues forever. Scroll down. Each of these pages would be like considered a block. So as time passes, these pages, blocks that contain information or important records, transactions, are added to the folder, the chain, thus forming the database, hence the blockchain. Because of its unique properties, blockchain technology can be used in many different industries, ranging from banking and accounting to the entertainment industry. And I would like to think that I'm entertainment, so it affects both industries for me, huh? Yeah, baby. Groovy, baby. So below, let's discuss some of the 5 different ways that blockchain will affect your company, and then I will let you go, I promise. Contracts are very important. Now, what would a business be that isn't really doing business? Well, it isn't a business then. Blockchain has a large impact and will have a large impact on the way organizations engage with one another. Doing business means transacting with other parties to facilitate something that would not be possible alone. In such an arrangement, the two organizations need to be sure that they can trust each other. I mean, man, trust. Isn't trust big? I mean, it's very, very rare in today's world. So in 2017, this trust is provided by a set of pages or contract that list all the terms and conditions of engagement. When a party doesn't adhere to the promises mentioned in the contract, it can be enforced by law. But this can result in an expensive, timely process. And it seems that the only ones that win is the legal system. So in many cases, going to court can be very, very time consuming when it's over a breach of contract, and it's simply just not worth the trouble at times. Sometimes it can be even more costly than what you're going to be rewarded if you win the lawsuit. So, using blockchain technology, many of these contracts can be converted into a smart contract. Unlike conventional contracts, smart contracts consist of software code and are executed by blockchain network. Woo! I'm gonna let that breathe for a second. Let that breathe. Let it breathe. Mm. The beauty The beauty of the smart contract is that it cannot be modified after they are deployed, which ensures neither party in a deal can walk away without doing their part. Imagine you don't even really need a prenup. I mean, it is what it is. And if it isn't, it isn't. Smart contracts written in code on the blockchain are contracts that are completely inalterable. Once they have been triggered, they are triggered. Once it's done, it's done. Now, I come from the Wichita, they dug the Manga. I come from the Cherokee Chowta. And there is no middle ground for us. There is no maybe. You either did or you didn't. There is no, I'm not sure. We should, we could, we thought. No. You either did or you didn't. It's black or white. And this is exactly what blockchain does. This is exactly what the smart contract does. It is truly revolutionary. So imagine you're in a band. You want to sell your music to someone, meaning you're going to have to transfer your audio file. Now, how can you be sure that the buyer's not broke? How can you be sure it's not Uncle Sam on the other side trying to sell you some fiat money he doesn't even have? How do you know the buyer is going to pay after receiving the music? At the same time, the buyer might be skeptical too that you, the person giving the music, won't be sending the audio file to them once they make the payment. Another Nigerian scam. A smart contract ensures that once the buyer has transferred the money, the audio file will immediately be sent to the buyer. Once deployed, no one can stop the contract from being executed, so both parties can trust the code. Number 2, payments. If your business requires payment transactions between countries, blockchains will come in handy as well. One of the biggest promises of blockchain is that it will replace money someday. I know Jacob Rothschild is probably over there crapping his pants right now, or at least trying to front run the market and buy some Bitcoin for himself. Now, this is, of course, would entail such a radical shift, okay, that it would take years, if not decades, to happen, but it's in place. But for right now, we can already use blockchains to transfer money across the globe within minutes instead of days. One of the benefits of decentralized money is that payments can be transferred directly between peers without any intermediaries, like banks slowing down the process. I mean, I hate the banks. The biggest challenge I have getting my money to market and spendable so that I can be able to buy food and pay bills and live life is the banks. It typically takes 24 to 48 hours to get it from crypto to fiat, but that's changing. Casha, which is another coin. CAS is the coin's token, and that particular coin is going to change the way that banks and money change hands. Now, payments. If your business requires payment transactions between countries, it's going to change. One of the benefits of decentralized money is that it can be transferred directly between peers without the intermediaries. Okay. Recruiting. Let's go down to the next one. Experts predict that robots will someday take over jobs, but until that day arrives, CEOs everywhere will still need humans to run their companies and to do the job. And with humans, there's human error. Now, unlike robots, however, people don't come with trademarks or reputation badges, which is why finding the right employees for your company can be a daunting task. It can be egregious at times and costly if you don't take the right steps to make sure that you're hiring the right people. Now, but what if such information about possible new hires became publicly available? As explored in that article, we're not going to that particular article, but blockchains can pave the way for faster and cheaper and trustless. This means you don't have to trust another human being for authenticity. Trustless reference checks. Each person would have a trail of feedback which would be accumulated over the course of their career by past employers. This would enable new employers to quickly review this trail and decide whether this person would be the right match for the job. Convenient enough for new employers. Okay. Now, what happens if the trail contains false information? Suppose your previous boss was a hateful hater, just hating, a horrible person. It'll be there forever. Will you be forever haunted with the negative feedback? No, blockchain's fair. To make sure that this doesn't happen, the reference system should be a two-way street. This way, employees can also rate their employers as if needed and each other. A bad rating from an employer with a bad reputation in this system will have less weight than someone who's proven trustworthy. So if that employer is just hating and always throwing shade because maybe you left to explore opportunities, maybe their visions weren't in line with yours, that won't stop you from being able to go in and explore other opportunities and advance your career. I'm going to let that breathe for a second. Nice. Now we got two more and then I'll let you go. Cold storage. If you're running a business, chances are you've got company data stored on the cloud. According to a recent report by cloud services provider BCSG, a growing number of small and medium-sized companies are turning to the cloud computing. Now, currently, about 64% of small business owners have an average of three cloud solutions in place, and it's expected to increase 72-fold in the next 3 years. Blockchains are playing a huge role in decentralizing cloud storage because they allow strangers to collaborate with each other instead of storing files on a single centralized server, such as a Carbonite. Okay, you'll be able to save your files on thousands of devices across the globe. This is big. Let's go to the next one. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Less hierarchy, better governance. Companies will thrive in an environment where power is not limited to the hands of a few. It is the way organizations are often structured. These current authority structures are the result of inefficiencies in coordinating a large crowd and other things, or among other things. Now, blockchain itself is not a new technology. It is just a combination of technologies that we've had for several decades: peer-to-peer networks and cryptography. I've been talking about it for a while. Similarly, the solutions on top of blockchains are made up of several moving parts that work together beautifully. Yes, they do. Beautiful is what my cousins would call it. My little baby cousins. Now, using a combination of these smart contracts on top of the blockchain, communities can have a governance without a hierarchy. It's very likely that your business will soon have next to zero bureaucracy, and all the major decisions that affect the organization as a whole might be taken through a transparent voting process that gets carried out on a blockchain. Every proposal gets submitted in the form of a smart contract on which everyone can vote. If the threshold defined in the company's constitution is met, the proposal is approved and the further steps can be taken. Pause. Does that sound like the future and the demise, the beginning and the ending, the alpha and the omega? Yes, it does. I'm gonna let it breathe. I'm gonna let you guys see if you can decipher through that puzzle real quick. The end of who? And the beginning of what new? Maybe the end of uh, tyranny, oppression, centralized power? Huh? 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 Maybe the end of monarchies and dictatorships? If we can have voting on a blockchain and have governance on a blockchain, will there be any need for government? Maybe the end of slavery? Oh, I don't know. Maybe that could be far reaching. I don't know, but stay tuned until next time. I see no icon. Checking out. Salim, Islam, Hotep, Rahabat. Goodbye.